20?
20. Yep, 20.
All
Episode
right.
20, guys.
They were cooking, guys. So episode 20. So today is a live Q&A day. Basically, we take questions from our community or anybody that's live right now, and we can kind of talk about, walk you through some different things. So
Yeah.
you got anything opening as I kind of pull up these questions here?
I think I had one question that I'm looking for from one of our community members. Let me see here. I think the other one was, oh man, I can't seem to find it. Let me see here. Can you search on posts via,
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can search.
I'm gonna search my post.
So while
Um,
you search, I
yeah.
got a question about sales and seller conversation questions. So what do you do when a seller asks what's your best offer?
That's a good one.
That's a good one. So the question for that is you never want to like be like, oh yeah, my offer is 100 grand, because you ever heard that story is like whoever speaks first is the loser.
Yep.
You'd be like, dude, totally good question. I would totally want to know how much my offer would be. But honestly, that just depends on what the condition of the property is and like how much money that we need to bring in to renovate. So all we'd have to do to give you a fair price is that we have to just walk through the properties. Is that fair?
Mm.
And if the seller says, no, give me your offer, right? You can always do this famous question I always say. So let me ask you, can I ask you a question? Right? They go, yes. Cool. Do you want a quick fast offer or do you want the best and most fair offer? And you have to make them choose, right? If they
Mm.
say, I want a quick fast offer, okay, like just looking at your property real quick, this is going to upset you. This is what I avoided wanting to do, but you obviously want a number. I would have to give you this much cash. And he'd be like,
Oh.
hell no, right? Cool. So I can give you a fair offer if you're willing to talk to me. If the seller says, yes, I want a fair offer, great. Would love to give you the highest and best and fair offer. I just need to make sure what your property looks like and how much money I need to bring in to fix it. So, do you have 5 to 10 minutes to kind of talk about the property? You are like justifying why you need to talk to them. Like, how
Yeah.
can I give you an offer if I don't know what the house is about, right?
That's good. That's a good question. Yeah, it's a good answer to
Yeah.
that question. This other question that I got from our community member Kenny, what is something that you implemented in your business in 2025 that really made an impact? What was the impact on of that?
You want to go first?
Well, for me, was I think a couple of things, right? It was the first thing was trying to get rid of my bad partner that I had, which made a huge impact not only on my mental stability, but also my business not bleeding.
Yeah.
And then also mental stability, meaning like my relationships got better. I got better, like not having this thing around and just looming. So the second impact was you and I went in business together. So that was the second impact, which was like really good in my in 2025. And I'm sure there's probably a couple of other things involved in 2025, but it was like kind of like a roller coaster. I think the whole thing was basically all like mindset and just partnering with the right folks. I think my theme of 2025 was partnerships, basically. Yeah.
Okay. I like
Yeah.
that. 2025 for me, if I were to sum it up into a word, would be focus, right?
Mm.
I had a lot of weird things going on. I was doing assisted livings, I was doing wholesale, I was doing CRM sales, like whatever the case may be, and had to realize that like I had to cut out a lot of the noise that wasn't making me the most money.
Yeah.
When you cut out all the other noise, you have so much more time and energy to put into like imagine like you're like a couple like 6 cups of water
Yeah.
and you only have like a liter of water and you can only pour so much into each. When I got rid of those extra things, I could pour a lot more into the cups that actually move the needle in my life, right?
Yep.
So yeah, focus and then good partners, right? I think is a
Yeah.
good collaboration of like what can make you successful, and that's what we both kind of implemented in 2025 to kind of help
Yeah.
us out.
Yeah. He also mentioned, Kenny also mentioned, now that I'm thinking about it, more something that I'm always struggling with is mindset. Would love to hear something that also made a positive impact on your mindset.
I'm not
Uh,
really a mindset guy.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things here. I think one thing that can make a really great impact, not only your mindset, but also your life, is the group of people that you hang around with. Like people that are not scared to give you the real, like basically telling you what's up instead of sugarcoating what you have done and not actually giving you what you need to hear. Because I would say the best friends that you can have in life are the people that tell you the real shit that no one else will want to tell you. For example, if you're just totally being an asshole or an ass and just being belligerent or just not being a good person, if you have a person that tells you like, "Hey, man, I think you should probably check yourself in the mirror because you're doing X, Y, and Z," and and that person is basically sticking their neck out where no one else is sticking their neck out to basically help you grow as a person, I feel like that is a relationship that you have to nurture and to recognize that that person is there for your well-being and your benefit of growing as an individual. So I think that as added to my mindset in 2025, and understanding like, okay, this person is telling me certain things that I don't like to hear in the moment, but I take a step back and understand like, okay, cool, I know what this person is doing for me. And that can be very hard in the moment. I think also a couple of other books that have helped me with positive mindset would be a guy named Michael Singer, a book called was it the Experiment is one, and then the other one would be The Untethered Soul. Yeah, those two are the really good books that I like to listen to on a regular basis, and it helps me kind of get outside of my own problems. So everybody's problems feel like it's like the biggest problem in the world, but he has a very obvious analogy or like comparison. Like you're basically a human on a piece of rock spinning through space at like
Is that planet
fast,
Earth?
yeah, fast as fuck. And there's like literally trillions and trillions of stars, and then here you are with your tiny ass problems.
That's true.
Yeah. So when you think about it that way, it's like, yeah, okay, like all the problems that I have are obviously solvable. I'm just making my problems more than it should be.
Yeah.
What about you? You have any? I know you said you didn't have any, but I don't know. Maybe
No,
talk.
I do. I just so I listened to the Alex Ramosi podcast with Tony Robbins,
Oh yeah, yeah, it's a good podcast.
and and very interesting podcast for me because I kind of aligned with how Hermosi operates.
Mm,
Like, you know, I'm not saying like I am Hermosi, right? I'm just saying that like the way he like looks at business and like how he became successful was through anger and like hate, right?
yeah.
And honestly, like this sounds really toxic, but like that's how like I operated, right? I hated my job, like I hated doing certain things, and like think about like going to the gym. The only reason why I used to go to the gym was because I hated how I felt. Like I hated myself so much when I was lazy. So I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh my God, I'm gonna force myself to go to the gym because I hate myself, right? And it's not, and Tony Robbins, listen to that podcast, super interesting thing, right? Like he was like, Alex, like you are always
Yeah.
pushing, but you're not like pulling any like good energy that like
Mm,
makes you want to do something because it means more to you, right? It's
yeah.
special to you. And really put it into perspective. This is not 2025, but this is like right now because that pocket just came out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, dude, like I do operate on a lot of like pain and like hate, right? And it's like that's not really healthy, and I don't get to enjoy the current like dude, like we're building such cool things together right now, and it's like
Yeah.
so hard to like really appreciate it because I'm always thinking about, okay, like where can I go next, like where can we go in the next 6 months, like how can we increase things that are happening now, and it's like we're not really enjoying what's happening like at the current moment. Like we're doing some cool stuff, you know, and we're helping a lot of people at the same time, and it's like really have to appreciate that sometimes.
Yeah, taking a step back and like being in awe and gratitude is actually a really good
Yeah.
cure for any negative mindset that you may have or any. tension that you may be feeling or holding on to resentment, I feel like that has been a lesson that I've learned over and over again for many years, and it's kind of hard to grasp when you are triggered. But the mindset and gratitude is definitely a huge thing of release for me. Um, just the other day, like literally yesterday, I got triggered and I was like kind of passive aggressive. But then I thought about, I'm like, you know what? I got to be grateful for what I have and what this person's telling me. And so again, appreciate that person a lot. So yeah.
Oh, did you get your PP slapped by somebody?
Yeah, yeah, straight up. So
I,
you know,
I
it is
could
what
probably
it
get I could probably guess who.
is.
I could probably guess who.
Yeah. And then yeah, just super grateful though.
I
Uh,
know it's important, right? Like it's important to get like accountability and all this stuff. And yeah, like I get pissed off too when people tell me like, "Oh, you should probably do it this way." It's like, "Well, who are you to tell me?" Like blah blah
yeah.
blah, right? And it's like, sometimes you need that other perspective, right?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, super grateful, right? Super grateful that we get to do what we do, right? I think
Yeah.
that's another thing too is like how many people in the world can say that they can comfortably, you know, quit their job or go do real estate or do whatever investment they want to do, like it's a blessing. So
It
that's
is.
how I'm looking at it now.
It is.
Let's go back to real estate. I think we got the spiritual woo woo stuff out of the way for the more aggressive investors. Okay, so we have a creative finance and advanced strategy question. When does subject to make more sense than cash? I'll let you answer that and then we'll go to another question because I think
Okay.
it's
When does
it's whatever.
subject to make more sense than cash? Okay, that's. I feel like there's many answers to this, but I can give a couple examples to kind of illustrate why subject to makes more sense than cash. One, if it doesn't have equity in it and a cash deal doesn't work for the seller. And like for example, I bought a house in Newport News, Virginia, and so a seller basically had to cross this crazy tunnel that I'm sure you guys are familiar with from Newport News to Virginia, and it's like a 2 hour ordeal, like each way, depending on when you cross the bridge. And so she bought it with the VA loan, didn't have equity in it, and so she couldn't sell it for on the market because she would pay out of her pocket to sell the property, and she didn't want that. So what I did is took over her mortgage, and that's when it made sense for her, and that's when it made sense for me as well. That's just one example. Now there's multiple examples if you just scale it out to like if a military person bought a house, 1 year into their duty and they had to be moved the next year. They have no equity. Same situation. Um, if they're going through foreclosure and the cash doesn't work, you have to catch up the arrears, right? And it's maybe 10 grand. You can do that. It doesn't make sense for the seller to sell because they're going to get screwed again. So those
Hmm.
are just a couple of situations. There's probably, multiple other reasons why, but I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, I just think that from a wholesale perspective, everyone wants to do a cash deal.
Yeah.
And I agree, like cash is probably the best when you're wholesaling just because it's safer, it's cleaner.
Yeah.
And we drastically stopped wholesaling creative deals, but it's just thinking about options. I think I want you guys to look at like subject to as like a tool in your tool belt, right? And if something doesn't work, if cash doesn't work, do you have something in your tool belt that you can bring out that can like solve that problem? Because that's essentially like why you get paid in any sort of thing. Why would a seller sell you their house for cheap? It's because you're solving a problem of theirs.
No.
Why does someone buy a CRM software? Because it makes their life easier, right? Why do we pay money for coaches and mentors? Because they help us accelerate through like roadblocks, right? Quicker
Yeah.
than we would do it on YouTube. Um, so it's another tool for you to present to the homeowner, if it makes sense to them. That's
Yeah.
how I would look at it.
Yeah. Gotta
Cool.
build your tools in your tool belts.
Let's see. I don't want to talk about creative. No, I'm kidding. I'm looking at all these questions here. But okay, so cold calling, direct mail, or SMS, which one should beginners start with? Whatever floats your boat, right? Like
Yeah.
you know, I I think any sort of marketing channel like can be very successful, right? You can be very successful running PPC ads if you have money. right? You can be very successful running cold calling if you have a team or you put in the hours, right? Like the amount of like cost is how much effort you probably have to exchange in terms of like how this works. So if you're paying 10, 15 grand a month in Google Ads, you're getting leads sent to you, right?
Yeah.
So it's less like work. You're calling the leads, but you still have to close them, right? Have a sales process. But that's like kind of like the big difference where cold calling is cheap, right? It costs $1.50 a month to buy a phone number and then you're paying for minutes, right? After
Yeah.
that. But you're putting in, multiple hours a day, multiple hours a week, just grinding on the phone to get somebody. Now,
Hmm.
I make it sound super negative, but cold calling is still pound for pound one of the best marketing channels for real estate, right? Everyone has a phone, and everybody who does well either has a call center, a team, VAs, right? Whatever strategy you want to do, or they do it themselves, right? So it just
Yeah.
depends on how hard you want to go and how much money you have to spend.
I also would add like look at the personality too as well. Are you a person that feels like cold calling will drain you or excite you? Or do you feel like SMS is a better approach since you're more of an introvert? Can you just text?
Hmm.
But then also that adds up money. Just depends on, I guess, who you are on your threshold of pain, of your comfortability. Because if you're wanting to just call and talk to people, if you're a social butterfly, then yeah, I think cold calling might be the best route for you. But if you're more of an introvert behind the desk situation and you just want to text, I think that might be a better solution for you as well. And if you don't like to chase leads for whatever reason and just like doing outbound outreach, then if you have more money, just PPC, pay per click, or PPL, pay per lead. It's really up to you. Just, but I would understand the person rather than the actual channel. But
Yeah.
the person in the channel, in my opinion.
Yeah, most people will probably start off like if you're on a budget, it'll probably
Yeah.
be, cold calling and texting, like in that combination, right? So you're trying to reach as many people in many different ways without
Yeah.
spending a shit ton of money. It would probably be you dialing on the phone and then having a machine like a CRM text them, right? Or
Yeah.
everything automated. So that's what I would look to do. And that's what we try to like teach people as well. It's like you can have a robot or a machine or a system do the heavy lifting for
Hmm.
you, and you focus on one marketing channel, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly. Exactly.
cool. That's a good question.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay. Who are here? No, I don't want to talk about that. I covered that for like 3 hours in the sales training.
Oh, did you?
Systems, scales, and business operations question.
Okay.
So what systems do you need before you scale? That's a very broad question. So I I'm figuring like what do you mean by scale? But like what do you think that you need to have in place to scale?
I think for me, if I was a solo, I mean, solo operators, I think you need the following. You need definitely a CRM, right? You need a CRM and like a follow-up because everything in this game, basically your sales and marketing at the very beginning, depending on what strategy you're going through. Obviously, wholesaling is sales and marketing. Fixing flipping, if you're doing it on your own, you're gonna want to do sales and marketing. If you're just trying to generate your leads yourself, and you still need sales and marketing to go reach out to wholesalers. So either way, it still starts with sales and marketing. So you need a place to capture leads, a place to then follow up the leads, and then from there convert them however you choose to convert them. Once you're able to convert a certain amount of volume and it becomes overwhelming for you, I think that's when you start to add in a particular person, whatever the bottleneck is. And then while you're doing that, you're going to want to build the SOPs to be able to replicate yourself as much as possible. A good rule of thumb is 80% of what you can do can be transferred over to a person. If they can do it 80% well enough, then that should be good. The 20% can be made up on the back end over time. So uh, I think a system like CRM is definitely very, very crucial depending on what you're actually scaling up for. And then you have other software as well, like you have video calling and all these other things that can make your life easier, like DocuSign and whatever it is it takes to do the
Mm-hmm.
business. But for the most part, I think systems are or technology is where I'm at, and obviously everybody's going to talk about AI. So AI, you have multiple different types of AI. It's just a matter of what kind of AI you want to implement to be able to get to the next level. So that's just kind of like my 2 cents. It's not like it's kind of a broad
I
answer
know,
for
very broad question.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, cause for me it's like, what do you need? Like, what systems do you need before scaling? It's like, well, what is scaling to you, right? Like,
yeah,
scaling is, I think, a very sexy word that people love to use, but like, you should know where most people are nowhere near the word scale,
yeah.
right? It's, you scaling is like you are trying to grow something. So if you don't have anything like a foundation, how are you going to grow?
Hmm.
So you need to have some sort of system in place in terms of, okay, like if I'm starting a business from scratch, like a wholesale business or just like any marketing and sales business, is like, okay, so what is the foundation, right? So you need a process of how to do sales calls, right? And you need to develop that.
Yeah,
Or like, what's your system to market? Like, are you just trying six different strategies like at the same time? Or like, are you like, do you have a systematic approach of like how you want to message people, right? Like, we have a very aggressive 7 day campaign, like when a new lead comes in, what do you have in place so you can compound and grow off that? Like, scaling is you have to have something existing, right? So
yeah,
either systems, processes, whatever the case may be.
yeah. It's a lot of little steps
Yeah,
that adds on to the ability to scale. So it's not just like
yeah.
one thing that you need. It's just a whole bunch of little things to be able to do those things very, very well over a period of time and efficiently.
And you have different problems at every stage of your business, right?
Yeah.
Like, didn't realize how important like processing and like companies like that are, like, as you like try to charge people for things and you lose the ability to charge people, like that's like a cardinal sin, like when people want to pay you and you can't take their payment,
Yeah. It's
like
rough.
stuff like that is like, okay, but you only experience that problem when you actually start making money,
Yeah.
right? So like, how would you know that that's a problem if you never like collected a payment?
Yeah.
How do you know like how to submit an offer, or how do you go through the title company and all that stuff? Like, that stuff is all like, you have to do stuff first to figure out what the issues that you have are,
Hmm.
and then you take those issues and you have the solution for it and you put it into a Google document or a repository, and like that's how you start creating SOPs, right?
Yeah.
Everyone talks about SOPs, but what is it really? It's all the mistakes that we made in the last like 5 years of business that we learned how to fix, right?
Yep. 100%. That's yeah, that's a good question. Good question. Broad answer. Broad topic.
Yeah, we can get real tactical if you want, right?
Yeah.
Okay, wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold, or still deciding. Okay, so everyone has their own preference. I think that's pretty much it, right? Do you want to take the risk and flip? Like, I feel like you have a different opinion on that because you
Yeah.
actually do flips at scale. Like, I
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah, flips is can be a little bit risky at times, and if you're not bought right, I just look at different buckets, right? Wholesaling is today's money, flipping is tomorrow's money, and rentals are quote unquote forever's money. But forever is a long time, so it just depends on if you want to deal with the forever headache as well with it.
Yeah.
Well, I teeter between like today and tomorrow's money because today's money for me can be a wholesale, but it also could be like a whole tail, which is also kind of today's money in
Yeah,
a
it's like
sense.
it's like delayed. It's like semi-delayed gratification.
Yeah, it's like a day and a half, you can say,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Try between tomorrow and a day and a half. So I think I enjoy fixing and flipping because I like the process that I go through with a house. Also, can create a lot of pieces of content with it. Wholesaling, you can't really do so much. You can just
I know.
it can also be a virtual. Um, with fixing and flipping, I like to also get my hands like kind of not dirty, but like kind of the ability to feed other families, like contractors and other vendors as well, and then make the neighborhood a little bit better due to your renovation, bring up the value in that neighborhood, and have more of a I'll get some more of a lasting impact than I would as a wholesaler per se. So that's my 2 cents on it. For fixing and flipping, wholesaling is obviously it's whatever, just cashing in.
Yeah, it's just it's a straight active income business.
Yeah.
And for us, it's just a little less risk in terms
Yeah.
of not bringing your own money and buying it and fixing it. Like that's kind of like our philosophy is like, okay, like here's what gets people jammed up in my opinion. And I've talked to dozens and dozens and dozens of people in the last couple million months, like in our groups here. And what I've noticed is you hear the way they talk about the flip, right? They're
Yeah.
like, I have these three flips that are, all my money is trapped in there. I'm
Oh
paying
yeah.
hard money fees, all this stuff. And I go, well, why did you buy these three houses? And he's like, well, I did the math and like I would rather make 45 grand flipping it than make 8 grand wholesaling it. And
There.
I'm like, okay, I understand that, but did you have to take all three at once? Right? Like, couldn't you wholesale two of them, make 15 grand, 20 grand of cash collected, and then you're able to sit on that house if it doesn't sell?
Yeah.
Like, guys, no matter what business you do, wholesaling, flipping, rentals, like
Yeah.
selling software, whatever, you need cash.
100%.
Cash keeps you alive. Cash keeps the marketing machine going. Because guess what? He can't do right now. He
You can't
can't
market.
market for new leads.
Yeah.
So his business is completely dead because he has all his money trapped, and then every dollar that he has to go to lenders,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you gotta mix it up in your business. Like it's okay to flip, but don't chase the white rabbit down Alice in Wonderland's like hole, right? Like
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean,
we've all been there.
what I would say is that like I think 40 grand is a good healthy spread. However, that's your
Yeah.
if that is your like gross and like not your net, then I would
Yes.
reconsider that and also depend on the timeline that it takes to
Yeah.
get
How
that.
much reno you have?
Yeah, how long is it gonna take? It's gonna take you 6 months. You should pass on that thing. Six
Yo,
months that you pass.
you know what's hilarious, bro? You say that, right? Like
Yeah,
full gut reno. Like this guy sends me a deal, and it's like, "Yo, man, cosmetic, bro," and I look wholesaler, right? I'm like, "Bro, this is like a fucking full demo." Like,
yeah,
and then like I'm like, "Yeah, it's 40K spread, but like it's gonna take me a fucking year."
yeah,
Like, I'd rather just wholesale one deal a month at that point. Shit.
yeah.
But
I
that
totally get
that's
that.
that that's that you got to look at that time and stuff,
Yeah,
man. I'm glad you brought up the timeline stuff because people don't look at it. They're like, oh, it's an 80 grand spread, but it's going to take
yeah,
you a year to do.
yeah. I won't do that. That at 80 grand spread will take me about 3 months, and I'll do that.
But they
I'll,
say like Jerry Norton, right? He does like multi-million-dollar profits, and
yeah,
it takes him a year to do that property, but he makes $1 million.
that's worth it.
That's worth it, right?
That's
So
worth
you
it.
got to understand like what you're chasing. Like if it's a 15, 20K flip like profit, it better be strictly cosmetic. You better
Yeah.
slap some paint on that, clean it up and call it a day, right?
Also depends on where you're at in your flip journey. If you're like more experienced investor, then obviously you can go a little bit more riskier, right? Depending on where you're at. If you're more newer, go the easy route. Go like the cosmetic route. Don't go into full gut craziness like I did. Just don't do it. It's not worth the headache or the squeeze, honestly. I'm just focusing on a little bit more than cosmetic, but with at least a 60 grand spread, like net spread
Yeah.
at the end of the day for like 3 months worth of work.
I think if you're a beginner, and this is my opinion, and you can say
Yeah,
your
yeah,
opinion on this, is like, okay, so my first flip was cosmetic, and
yeah,
it's like, it's okay, in my opinion, to try a 15, 20K flip, like
yeah,
profit, if it's cosmetic, right? Because even if you fuck up, you're
yeah,
not gonna lose your ass on it,
yeah,
right? Because you know that like it's a cosmetic flip and you're only gonna put so much money into it. Like worst case scenario is you lose a few thousand, like,
yeah,
and you gain a ton of experience. Like that's what happened to me. Like so, I'm
yeah.
telling you from like firsthand experience. Like that was my first deal, and I learned so much on that. So that's
Good
my
tip.
recommendation.
Good tip.
Yeah,
I think we're
just
basically
eat
out
it, bro. Eat the L.
eat that. I think we might
Yeah.
be out of time, guys.
Yeah, yeah. Put your questions in the freaking school, bro. We want to
Yeah,
answer more questions like this. We
very
do
good question.
this every other week.
We do this. No,
I
we do
think
this
I
once a
think
month.
what? Yeah, next week is once a month. Next week
Some tactical training.
we're doing a training, and
Yeah,
then we have another live guest which we need
yeah.
to announce, but we'll announce that next
The
week.
week before. Yeah, next week.
Cool. See you
All right.
guys.
See ya. Peace.